Mantramovement. My name is Marco. This is the boy Juan, and today we wanted to introduce to you all a little bit about Mantramovement. We're a brand new, I guess you could say, a little company here that's trying to start just motivating people, sharing people's stories, and overall creating a movement which we call Mantramovement. That being creating your own mantra, just like Nike's, which is just do it. Ours is, fuck it. And go for it.
Not exactly. That was good though.
This is an interview where we're going to talk about him, get to know him, and try to inspire others, right? We want to make sure that we do something here in the community. We do others a service, and we want to just honestly just create a movement, like I was saying. So Juan, tell me, we know that not the public knows, but I know that you're a cybersecurity engineer. You're working for a startup. You're doing this. You're an eligible bachelor out there. What made you go into that field of cybersecurity? And just before we even go off to that topic, how did you even get to cybersecurity? I think you used to be in the military. And you said you turned to 180. Like, what happened? What happened?
Sure, yeah. 180. Yeah. So, quick backstory. I worked my ass off during high school to get into the Air Force Academy, and I didn't get in the first year, so I got an offer to go to a prep school through them, which was really nice. Probably worth $20K. And then after that, did a semester in college, applied again, and eventually I got in 2018. Up to that point, I had been doing ROTC in high school, another program called the Young Marines, since I was 8 years old, and doing all these military lifestyle things that I had to do. And I went full-heartedly in, I wanted everything out of it. But after going to the boot camp, after graduating, I was like, dang, I can already see my future. I can see the next 20 years of my life, following orders, sticking to what I'm being told to do the jobs that I don't want to do because I'm forced to. I mean, that's the service you're doing, right? And honestly, at that point, I didn't want that anymore. So I ended up leaving 6 months in, and yeah, at that point, I was like, all right, now what am I gonna do with myself? I already was in a computer engineering major, so I was just gonna continue that. And at that point, I didn't want to go back home either because I needed something different for myself. So I went to Santa Cruz in California. I didn't know anybody there at the time. Went down there, started working for a French family. They were selling baked goods, at farmers markets, go and sell bread. And
can you make cookies? That?
I wasn't a baker, but I would just go and sell. And from there, I went to college, and I was doing the computer engineering major again. I was gonna do that, and I was like, this is cool. I gotta learn all the math, all the physics. And then after my first calculus class, I ended up getting a C in. I was like, dang, this sucks. Because I thought I knew everything. We go to the test, you gotta regurgitate everything you're told, just memorize it, and then just spill it on a piece of paper. And if you don't, you get a C. And I was like, screw that. I'm not gonna sit here, memorize things, and then forget them next year. And then I'm not gonna go do physics when I'm not even gonna use physics ever in my life. Maybe some points, but I'll probably never use it. So I left. I was like, screw that, After that, I found a program called Career Technical Education in community college, and then I was able to do almost like a cybersecurity program at community college. Did it for a year and a half, got my degrees, transferred to an online school. I got like 6, 7 global certificates through a school called Western Governors. And then after that, I ended up getting a job, and that's where I am now. Long story short.
I think some people would see that and then, be like, oh, he quit. You didn't go full. But
yeah, I agree. People would think it's quitting, but there's a point in your life where you have to stop doing things that you don't want to do. And if you continue to do them, you're just going to put yourself through hell. And for what? I mean, you only live really one time, and after that, you just wasted your time doing something you didn't want to. And I don't want to do something anymore and just change it, change your life in that moment. That's all I did. I just changed what I wanted to do. I didn't want to be there anymore, so.
We were at that. It's not quitting. It's more of reassessing your life and just moving forward, right? So, what do you think? I mean, now that you did all that and you're at the place where you're at right now, how often would you need to reassess your life, or is that just like Because I feel like you're 24, about to be 25, right? Yeah, I'm 24. No, about to be 24. I think at the age that we're at, you're never gonna have figure it out, and the stigma around you're quitting, or you're leaving a job, or there's all this stuff that people will say. When is it the most appropriate time to quit / reassess your life?
So I'd say like a completely 180, like for what I did, that's probably like maybe once or twice in your life, really. It's not something you do every other day. But while you're in that new field, like I switched my life around. I'm a software engineer actually, and while I'm in that field, what do I have to reassess now? I'm in the job I like, I'm doing what I love, and what exactly do I have to reassess? Like, I don't like this job. Do I don't like my boss, or like the people I work with suck? Like, what are those things? And it really just comes down to really small details about the field you're in, not you changing your whole field. If you're gonna change your field again, I mean, that's fine, but you should really look deeply into what you like doing, who you are. Once you know that, then you'll be able to. You most likely won't change again.
Let me ask you this pondering question: how do you look into yourself? How do you how you're this is what I like? What do you have to do? Do you have to do psychedelics, or what do you have to do, right? I mean, for the longest, I'm I have to do some psychedelics and figure out what I want, or is it just I just got to be in my worst moment and just when I'm put in a corner, and that's how I figure out this is what I want to do. What made the change for you?
Yeah, so looking into myself, right? Honestly, a lot of it comes down to your interests. What are you interested in? And for me, I remember being into computers at some point in my young life. Growing up, I was exposed to it. I really liked it, and I didn't really tap into it during high school. I realized that I had other things to do. I had to get a career for myself. So I came back to the things that I actually just was into. You probably already know what you're into. You probably like certain things. You like doing some sports. You like movies. I don't know. You like things. That's what makes you who you are. And then you realize, all right, if I really like these things, I could get a job in these fields. And then you start assessing what could I actually be if I did this for the rest of my life. You just have to really research who you could be, who you want to be, what do you see your life like, and then it all revolves around goals as well. All right, I want to be an engineer, I want to do computers, but I also want to have a whole big house, a fancy car, and all that. I mean, a job alone is not going to get you that. So what else do you have to do?
How did you get to here?
Good question. I have no idea. But I realized that we need to like get in groups to accomplish bigger things, and I knew that I couldn't start a whole company by myself. You know, work a job, work out, try to do some investments, and still have time for myself at the end of the day. I just didn't think I could do all that. So I was like, you know, I know 4 great people, 3 great people, you know, myself included, equal 4. And they're all motivated. They all want something out of themselves, you know? So I was like, let's do that. Let's get them all together and see if they all want to accomplish some goals and try to get their American dreams up. And that's how we got here.
Do you think that when, you know, let's say we don't complete a goal, would you consider that as snaps, I failed, or it's like, you know, just a goal, it happened and I just had to adjust, but it's still there? And
I mean, straight to the point, yeah, like if you set a goal and you didn't do it, I mean, you failed it, right? It's fine. It's fine to fail things. But there's also reasons to why you failed it. Like, why exactly did you fail? You got lazy, or you changed your mind, or you realized that that goal was not valuable to you anymore. For me, I actually was doing an MBA program, learned everything that I needed to learn, and then once I get to the final point, you know, I was required to pay more money, and I was like, you know, I don't want to pay more money to do a project to then present it to somebody just to get a piece of paper at this point. And I realized that all you really need to do is start your own business. Like, you don't need to go through these degrees, these MBAs, really, to go and start a business. You can just start one. As you go through the whole business process, you learn how to run one. And if you're open-minded to everything, you're going to learn how to run one. And that's what I'd say. So like, I didn't finish it because I realized that I didn't want to pay money for a piece of paper, and I already knew everything on how to start a business. I didn't need to go again and, you know, have a paper prove it. If you have a business, that proves that you know how to run a business, which is what an MBA is. So like, it comes down to what you really value as, and time. Like time, right? Like, I'm not gonna take the time to go and do something I already know.
Interesting. I think, is it okay to be lazy sometimes? Like, because I feel like, honestly, it gets exhausting, you know, performing 100% all the time, like doing all this stuff, like working out, having a family, all that stuff. Like, I mean, I'm not even dating, yeah, all that stuff. It gets exhausting. Is it okay to just rest, or when, you know, because I think what I see in different, you know, motivational people, it's like, oh, get off your ass, you're so lazy, you know, start now. But sometimes I think it's okay to just kind of rest, but I think there's a different, like, you differentiate between being lazy and just resting. Mm-hmm. Is that where we draw the line?
So being lazy and resting, right? I mean, there's a clear difference. Like, you're resting because you had worked so hard. Now you're tired and you can't keep going. Your body needs rest. You need to just take a few days off. But you're lazy because you haven't done anything and you're still not doing anything.
Well, when people, you know, there's some really intense people, there's like no rest, you know, like zero rest. Like, what do you say to those people? Like, okay, like, can you actually really perform? Like, are you just gonna burn out?
It is true. Like, you do burn out. I've burnt out myself like maybe 2 to 3 times at this point, and you need that rest. Like, you can't go full 100 all the time. I mean, that's complete BS. Like, there's no way. And the people who are posting about it obviously are lying to you. They are resting. They just don't show you that part, so you never see it. And, you know, if you work so hard that you burn out and then you never want to do something again, you're in a way also just wasting time. Like, you put all that work, it goes to waste. Now what are you gonna do? So if you just take it a day at a time and just rest, it's a long haul. Like, you got a few years to do it. It's not something that's gonna come easy, and just go from there. Really, like.
Staying around the topic is, I know you've had different businesses, you've done all that stuff, and what have you learned from each and one of them that made you say, you know what, I think this is the way, or this might not be the formula yet that I think will get me to where I want to be, but it's, you know, it's X, Y plus C, you know, whatever. It's there. It's something that I'm trying. Like, what is that formula to not necessarily call it successful, because we're not there yet,
Mm-hmm.
right? But what would be that formula? Is there a formula, or does everybody have their own path?
I mean, I'm sure everybody's heard it before. It's, you know, discipline. Comes down to discipline and obsession, I'd say, both together. So you have to be so obsessed about something, starting something, changing something about yourself, that you forget to eat sometimes. Like, you're working, you don't get hungry. You drink water, and then you forget that, you know, you pass through lunch because you're working. And a lot of people probably don't have that because they are in the wrong thing. They're not obsessed about what they're doing. And I mean, if you combine that with discipline, you wake up when you have to wake up, you go work when you have to work, you read a book when you're going to read it, you get your rest when you're supposed to rest. Like, you do that over a few years, you're going to progress each day. If there was a formula, that's the only formula I know. Like, that's probably the only thing that's gotten me where I am today. Just obsess about what you want to do and do it every day.
And for those who want to know, where are you today? Why out of anybody else, why should we take your advice? Like, why, you know?
Well, I mean, I'd say the biggest part of it would be, I mean, you can look at what I've done, right? I'm not going to sit here all day and tell you everything I've done, but like a few key points is just, you know, like, I've had like a whole day under my name in our city. You know, I've gotten into like a 10% acceptance rate school, and it's really hard to get into these schools. Like, I've shown my progress through, you know, everything I've accomplished, places I've been, the jobs I'm in now, the money I'm making now, the cars I drive, and
the places you go.
The places I go to, you know, the travel and leisure time I do.
Hello.
You can see these things at 24 compared to, you know, all of our friend groups and who's doing what at this age. And I'm not saying, you know, we're successful and famous. We're not there yet. We're not millionaires. And honestly, I'm not trying to be that rich or anything, but I'm just trying to be wealthy in the sense where I have enough time and I want to do what I like, and I want to be like around the people that I want to be. In that sense, then this group, this mantra movement itself is wealthy because we've enabled ourselves to do that. And I mean, I'll show you guys can, you know, go through my whole track record there on LinkedIn or whatnot, and
it's pretty good actually.
And you can see that for yourselves. Point out that the whole point of this is to actually, you know, bring people who are working to be where we are ourselves now, help them get up to our level, and then try to also bring other people who are above us, get them to bring us up there, you know. We're not going to just stay here, we're always going to be moving. The whole idea about this mantra movement is to help everybody get to their American dream. And it's different for everyone, but you know, if we all come together, we can at least try to help everybody get there.
I get you. Well, Mr. Juan, thank you. thank you for letting the world know, sharing it, and we'll share more about what Mantra Movement is. We'll let you know what we do, what we're trying to do, the movement we're trying to create, and you know, we want everybody to just continue growing. So let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, share. It's just the beginning. We're only gonna get better. Mantra out.
Peace out, y'all.